Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Hope everyone stay healthy in this critical period. Thank you for joining us for today's sessions. My name is Evelyn, and I'm in charge of partner enablement. Today, we are going to share with you about the initiative that Sage launched together with Huawei and Netmark, staying safe while working remotely with Sage 300 on Huawei Cloud. Together with me, I have Charles, the Director of Product Engineering for Sage Asia, Nancy, Vice President of Partner Alliances from Huawei, and Raja, the Technical Managers from Netmark Singapore. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. So everyone will be muted throughout the sessions. If you have any question during the presentations, please type them into the question box in your control panels. We will bring them up during the end of the sessions. At the end of the sessions, everyone will be provided with vocal rights, and you can choose to unmute yourself if you want to speak out. Otherwise, like I said just now, you can always type your questions at the question panels. So today's sessions will be recorded and uploaded onto our partner portals, and all the slides and materials that you are seeing later will be also uploaded onto our partner portals. So at the end of the sessions, once you click exit from the webinar, you will be directed to a feedback form. So it will be appreciated if you can use less than 3 minutes of your time to fill. Your feedback is very valuable to us because we are going to launch this initiative, and some of the trainings that needed can highlight to us in the feedback form as well. All right, so now without further ado, let me just hand over to Charles to start off the sessions today. Charles, over to you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Hi, everyone. Unfortunately, we can't see face to face, but it's nice to know that a lot of you guys are still actively involved in Sage 300, even though we are all locked down and working from home. This afternoon, I'll be covering how we can deploy Sage 300 onto the Huawei Cloud. Let me first start off by giving some background of the agenda for today. I will start off first with a discussion on Sage collaboration with Huawei Cloud and Netmark Singapore, how together we are bringing solutions to you guys so that you can deliver to your customers. Then we will go into detail a little bit on how we can migrate existing customers of ours who need to work at home just like us, but still be able to access their Sage 300 installation that they have deployed for the company. Okay. We will do the migration review, and we will also touch on how you can actually enable this service to your new customers when no Sage 300 is currently deployed. Later on, I'll pass you over to Nancy from Huawei Cloud, who will touch a little bit more on the partner alliance with the company. And last but not least, we're going to have Raja from Netmarks, who will cover the services and the packages pricing that they will be able to offer to all the partners in Asia. All right, first of all, let's cover a little bit about private cloud hosting. We know that in these times like this, private cloud hosting becomes something more valuable than in the normal times, right? Normally, we find that it is quite difficult to convince customers to actually move their system into the cloud because they always have this fear of the data is not secure and so on. But with times like this, where it is not only required, but it is mandated by law that you cannot work from home, you cannot work from the office, that things have to be actually be hosted on cloud services. So we in Sage have actually taken the last couple of weeks to quickly tie up with Huawei and come up with a solution that we think will meet your stringent requirements for your customers. So what we have done for you this afternoon is that we have worked with Huawei and Netmark to come with some preferential pricing that you can take to the market and help your customers in time like this where cost concerns are very important. We will also talk a little bit about Sage 300 images pre-installed on Huawei Cloud, how you can actually use it later on to deploy for your new customers. And we want to make sure that all these things is easily done by you. So that's the reason why we have this webinar today. And we'll be following up with more webinars of this nature to make sure that you are comfortable with the solution that we're offering through the Huawei Cloud and NetMax collaboration. All right, so what the next I'm going to show you is a little bit about the pricing, because I know some of you guys can't wait until the end to know how Sage is going to tackle this COVID-19 situation. I see here Jing Fang's team has actually come up with some kind of promotion for you guys on the software itself. So if you do have customers that are not exactly making a decision right now, you may want to use this as a way to convince them to switch over to the subscription-based pricing, where they can enjoy 3 months of free use. All right, with that done, my proper agenda for this afternoon will actually cover 3 areas. One is the technique that you will use to migrate existing customers that already have it deployed on-premise or maybe on other virtual environment to the Huawei Cloud service. Then we also quickly touch a bit on how you can actually deploy for new customers of yours. All right, so first thing first, let's go and see how you can actually migrate existing installation to Huawei Cloud. I have come up with this slide which shows very simple 6-step process that you need to take when you are moving any of your customers who have already Sage 300 deployed in their business to the Huawei Cloud environment. Now, remember, whatever you're doing is not just limited to Sage 300. So it is possible when you're doing this exercise for your customer that they may have other application running on other servers. So it is possible in this arrangement to migrate all these installations of theirs, all the servers or virtual machines that they have into Huawei Cloud at the same time, right? So remember, it is not just limited to Sage 300 or Sage products alone. And to give you an idea how long it takes for the whole process, we actually did it ourselves and we timed ourselves using sample company, and we find that the whole process from start to end take roughly 37 minutes. So the effort that you need to take to move a real production environment will take anything from 30 minutes to something like 2 to 3 hours, right? And I'll say that the 2 to 3 hours will actually mean customers with substantial amount of databases or data to move over. All right, so these are the major steps that you need to take note of when you're migrating your customers. First of all, without having to say anything, you definitely need to identify what the customer is currently using so you know exactly what you're migrating. The next thing you need to know is you must make sure that you have provision for the virtual machines on Huawei Cloud accordingly to meet your requirements for your customers. Then you perform the actual migration itself. And finally, but not least, you will then do some smoke tests on behalf of your customers. You will also invite your customers to do smoke tests of their own. Right? Although the migration will be seamless and simple, there may be possibility that something may be left out. So it's always wise and prudent to get your customers to do some kind of testing. Okay, we'll cover what are the tests required later on. All right, to identify the hardware, these are the things that you got to watch out for. First of all, identify how many servers or virtual machines are you looking at to migrate to Huawei Cloud. Okay, so you must take note of them. You must make sure that you take note of the CPUs that they use, the amount of RAM, and the amount of disk and disk space, right, or disk capacity. Right? You may also want to do an exercise with the customers at this point in time to ask them whether they need to actually upsize any of these configuration. For example, the customer may be facing some performance issue in the past. Now, to improve the performance, they may have to buy new servers. So since this is an exercise for them to move from their existing environment to the Huawei Cloud, they may want to take advantage of this to actually upsize their specification for the hardware. Software has also to be considered. Okay? You must take note of what are the operating system the customer is using. Although I will say that the Huawei Cloud does cater for practically all the combination of Microsoft Windows Server operating system, but just in case there's some weird combination or some very old combination that used by customer that may have a challenge moving to Huawei Cloud, so you want to take note of them. If you do not see these choices in the Huawei Cloud environment, you may want to consult Huawei or us if you want to, and we can give you the guidance on that basis. If you are also migrating customers that have deployed Sage web user interface, right, the Sage 300 Cloud, let take note that you may have to do something special, right? One of the things that is special, of course, is you must make sure that uh, uh, when you opt for the virtual machines in Huawei Cloud, you actually selected the EIP option, which is basically the static IP, right? Because you know for a web application, for someone to start up a browser to access that application, they need to actually have either a domain name or if there's no domain name, at least a static IP that points to the server where the IIS sits. You also must make sure that the Microsoft SQL Server that you are migrating to the Huawei Cloud have are the right type. Bear in mind that if your customers has licensed the Sage, Microsoft SQL Server from Sage as part of the system manager combination, do note that that license is only valid for on-premise installation. So if you intend to move to a cloud or a hosted service, please take note that the license that you have purchased are not valid for your customer to deploy in this environment. Also take note of any antivirus requirement by the customer, right? Some customers may have very specific requirements of some antivirus, right? Although the movement of the environment from the on-premise to Huawei Cloud actually takes into consideration everything that's in that server, but we still need to know, or at least you should take note of any antivirus that they're using that may pose a challenge when moved into a cloud environment. Also take note of any special software consideration a customer may need, because it could be possibly the customer have other application that you're not aware of. So you might want to do some discovery on that first before actually you perform the actual migration. Take note of the number of users, because the way the cloud service work is that you will either access the service through the remote desktop connection. Therefore, you need to make sure that you have enough sufficient license to cover the usage, or you need a web browser or virtual private network in order for you to access the application. Thirdly, you also need to worry about printing. Now, although I will think that when someone works from home, the fact is that it's unlikely the home user will have the right type of printer to support the business, right? So I would think that the best way to do this is that to make sure that you do some discovery with the customer, make sure that they're aware that once you move to the cloud, your users may have a challenge actually printing things in hard copy. So it might be wise for them to choose other methods of printing reports. For example, using the option of printing to file and then emailing to colleagues who needs the report, or maybe putting into a FTP site where users can go and browse and download those reports themselves if they want to see it. Right now, hard copy, if it's needed, the way it is done in the virtualized environment is that they will make use of the printer redirection capability of the Windows server. Right, so it is possible for the user to click print and get it redirected to the printer that is located in their own home office. All right, so that is basically the key steps that you need to take when you're doing the migration from the on-premise systems into the Huawei Cloud. So let's recap. Basically, the four things you will do: identify the current hardware requirements, take note of any additional requirements that's needed. For example, they want to upscale, identify what is the current software usage in their operation, and also note any printing requirements. Now, once you have done all this groundwork, right, let's take a look at how the Huawei Cloud looks like when you are actually performing the migration. Now, I'm not going to complicate you with a lot of screenshots because we're going to conduct training for you later on, right? Where those people who are more technical will probably be able to follow and appreciate. So I do not want to confuse those who are maybe the business owners or maybe the salespeople who are in this conference call to actually get confused when they see all these complicated screens, right? So here you are in a very high level. The way you will proceed if you want to perform this particular migration is, first of all, you must already have a Huawei account. Therefore, you have to be a Huawei partner in order to have access to the cloud service to create the virtualized machines for your customers. Alternatively, if you have no intention to be a Huawei partner, you can also work with our appointed service provider called Netmax, who will be able to work with you to build this virtualized machine to help you to configure and provide you with any additional services that you may require. One thing to note here, and I think I have emphasized here in the second bullet point, is that make sure that your virtual machines that you're going to provision in Huawei Cloud must be of equal or higher specs than your existing customer setup. Right? I think it makes common sense, right? If you want to put an elephant into a shoebox, it's not possible. So you must make sure that your container is large enough to contain whatever you want to move into it, right? So this is obviously a very sensible thing to do. Please take note of it and do not accidentally provision too small. Of course, once you have moved over the virtualized environment and you find that the customer may not actually need that kind of capacity, it is possible for you to downsize, right? But during the migration, it must be equal or higher. All right. If you go into the Huawei Cloud to do actually the migration, you will be presented with a 4-step process. The first step is actually the download agent process, which is a very simple thing. You go into the Huawei Cloud, there's a link that you will click on to download an application onto your customer server, right? Once the installation is done, it will actually perform the next thing, which is to perform a migration feasibility test. Basically, you will scan through and make sure that everything that you are doing is A-OK for the migration. So if you do not encounter any problem at that stage, you know you are practically 99.99% ready to go with the migration. The next thing to do is actually go into Huawei Cloud, create a task. A task basically is a job that tells the system, this is what I want you to do, right? Look at this server, move it into this virtual machine that I want to use inside Huawei Cloud. Once that task is created, the rest of the steps is completely automated. When you click on run, the system will actually create a snapshot of whatever you have in your customer's environment. They will create a snapshot into the Huawei Cloud. And once that snapshot is created, it would then begin to recreate that environment into the virtual machines that you have provisioned for. Right? While they're doing all this, the last step there says you can track the task. It's basically like you are buying something online, right? You can actually now physically see where your parcel is going through the whole supply chain. The same thing here. There is a panel where you can actually see what the task is actually performing at that particular moment in terms of migrating your customer server to the virtualized environment. All right, so if you want to know more about this, they do have very comprehensive help in their cloud service. So this is one of the screen that I printed out that shows you how the server migration service work in Huawei Cloud. You can see that it's a very simple thing. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps that you can see there. The first step is, as I said earlier, download the agent, runs the agent, right? And once the agent is running, make sure that you create a migration task that tells him where is your target, where is your source, and tell him to proceed, right? And as soon as he completes there, it shows you the progress. At the end, you will actually see a working virtual machine that has exact same configuration as what you have in your customer's environment. It is as simple as that, right? So one other thing here that we purposely took advantage of in the Huawei Cloud Service is this ability to do synchronization. Now, it may not be necessary in your environment when you are doing the migration to make use of this. What actually is this synchronization service? Imagine for a moment you are actually migrating your customer server, but because it takes a few hours to complete, the customer says that, but I do have some urgent orders to process. Can I still use the system? The answer in this situation here is yes. Because what happens here is that the first process or the first step of the task is actually to create a snapshot of the server. Once that snapshot is created, the users can actually continue to use the server like normal. They can add, change, delete, whatever they want, right? Once that whole snapshot has been recreated into the Huawei Cloud virtual machine, you may now want to synchronize to make sure all the changes that is done on the uh, customer server are also migrated over at this time, right? So during this synchronization, of course, it makes sense not to use the server anymore, right? But essentially, it is as simple as this. You could actually have the user actually continue using the system while you perform the migration. And that is a big bonus for customers who find it is a challenge for them to stop doing business just because they need to move to the Huawei Cloud. So this is one of the side benefit of the whole arrangement. Last but not least is once all this is done, you may want to revisit how the system is going to be billing your customers, right? So the way the Huawei Cloud service works is that they have a number of choices. The first choice is of course pay per use, and the other choice is either you pay by month or yearly. Obviously, the longer is your contract agreement, the cheaper is the service, right? This is quite a common sense thing, right? So if the customer is willing to commit to a longer timeline, you will notice that the pricing for the use of the service is cheaper compared to monthly and compared to pay per use. All right, so now that you have created this new environment for your customer, right, that you are ready to say, customer, let's go and use this thing and we can shut down your own on-premise server. The first thing you do is, of course, you must go and do some smoke testing. As a business partner, I, I have some recommendation of what you must do on behalf of the customer. And I also have a list of things that you should also ask the customer to do when they take over the virtualized servers. Okay. So for partners, first of all, you must do a lock-in test, right? If you can't even connect to the virtualized machine, obviously your credentials are not correct and all that, you have a problem, so you better solve it first, right? So once you can lock in, I suggest that you do a DB setup check. We know that when we are setting up the SH300 system for our customers, some of us are using different methods to do the configuration of SQL Server, right? So depending on how you do it, I suggest that you go revisit DB setup and make the appropriate changes to point to the correct location now for your database. For example, if you are using IP addresses in your DB setup, you will need to go and point him to the new IP address where the database is now sitting. Of course, if the database is sitting in the same application where the application is sitting in the same server, then obviously the answer is very simple, right? You probably need no changes because you'll probably be using localhost. But just in case, right, if you do have some unique situation, you may want to visit this particular area and make sure that it is verified before you release it to your customers. The other area is functional test. I do not have particular reports or screens or function that you must click on. But I suggest that you do something along this nature. First, choose some report to print. Make sure that you can print to file, you can print to email, you can print to printer, right? If you can't do any of these things, then obviously your customer will not be able to do it as well, right? So make sure that you can also print custom reports that you have created especially for your customers. Why I say that is because I do know in some circumstances, some of you do not follow the standard technique used by SH300 when you're creating custom reports for your customers. So in those situations, the reports may not run, right? When that happens, then you will find that your customer will be unhappy, right? So it's best for you to test it out first to make sure that there is no challenge in those reports. Make sure that you're able to edit and save data. Simply go to customer company profile, make some changes, save it. If you have no errors, you know that there is at least the security fold of the folders and all that is all properly configured and is working. Try to perform a batch post to make sure that there is nothing that may hinder the actual use of the Sage 300 application, right? And maybe perform a small simple DIC test of the smallest module in the system, maybe tech services, right? Once you have done all this and you are all okay with it, you may then want to invite your customers in to test it out for themselves, right? And in the bottom there, you see the first thing I want you to ask them to test is multi-user access. Because these users are all sitting in their home, they want to be able to access the single installation in Huawei Cloud. You must make sure that all of them can access it without any problem, right? Now, because we're using remote desktop connection, it's unlikely these people will have a problem, right? Unlike if you were to configure them to use virtual private network, then you may have some situation where their workstation setup may not work properly, right? So I suggest that in situations like this where people are using cloud service, it's always preferable that they use some kind of thin client technology, either remote desktop connection or some kind of browser uh, connections, right? One good example, if you notice in 300 Online, the cloud service that Sage provide to customers, the 300 Cloud Online actually uses a product called Remote Spark View. right? Remote Start View is basically a web-based application that allows you to connect to a hosted cloud service to actually perform access and run application that could be Windows application. Do the same thing as what you have done in your testing. Make sure that they can print, they can edit, save, perform batch posting, and even the DIC. Once each of these people can do all these things, you know that you are now safe, that these people will not come to you at odd times telling you this don't work and that don't work. All right, so that wraps up what you need to do if you are moving a customer that is already using Sage 300 on-premise to the cloud service. You can see that it's a simple task. I think if you're a technical person, you after hearing this, you probably know exactly what to do and you are able to do it yourself, right? But maybe we can give you some guidance later on by when we do our own training to orientate you to the screens that in Huawei where we say some of these things have to be done. Okay, so don't worry about that. We, I believe you will find that it's also very simple because I myself have done it together with some of my team members in Sage, and we were able to understand it very quickly and be able to deploy our own virtualized environment with Huawei Cloud. Now I'm going to go on to now to look at how you can deploy Huawei Cloud for new installation. Customers that do not have Sage 300 at the moment. So they want to buy Sage 300 from you and they say, okay, instead of putting it on a dedicated server inside my office, I myself go on the cloud service. So this is where you will take advantage of this particular process. The process is again very simple. To help you to do your work more efficiently and quickly, we have created what we call images inside Huawei Cloud. Each of these image represent a particular version of Sage 300. So you will find Sage 300 2019, 2020, and so on inside Huawei Cloud. All you got to do is just tell yourself what is the version that you want to deploy for your customers. The next thing you have to do is go and provision for a virtual machine on behalf of your customers. What do we mean by provision a virtual machine? Provisioning a virtual machine is selecting what kind of CPUs you want, how much RAM, how much hard disk, how many disk drives you want, right? Including even how you want the system to charge you for the traffic that that your customer will conduct when they access the application, right? Also, of course, the number of users. Now, because these virtual machines are provisioned by you, and you are managing it on behalf of the customer, it is possible for you to use this virtualized environment to deploy things that are outside of Sage 300 core. So if you want to deploy Resource Manager or Fixed Assets or Auto Simply or some product from Orchid System that you think your customer will require in order to be happy with the product, completely is your decision to decide how and what you want to deploy, including any customization that you want to do. Right? So if you want the customers to be able to go onto the cloud service to be able to run financial report using Excel, completely by all means, install a copy of Excel so the users can actually perform that task. So once you have provisioned the VM, you actually takes a copy of the image that we have created and create that image into the virtual machine of yours. Right? Basically, this whole process takes literally a few minutes. Right? I actually have seen that we have done this provisioning ourselves, and it literally took for 2019 version took literally 3 minutes to provision. So it is really fast. So instead of having to wait a few hours to install all the modules in Sage 300, imagine it's all installed for you and all properly. I would say it's properly configured, but it's all installed and running for you, right? So all you got to do now is the next thing is to make sure that you have the right SQL Server license. Remember, I was saying earlier, the SQL Server licenses from Sage with the System Manager bundle cannot be deployed on any virtualized environment or cloud hosting environment. So you need to either obtain the service from either Huawei or from Netmax, or if you are a Microsoft reseller yourself, you can deploy your own copy of the SQL Server license for your customers. But bear in mind, SQL Server licenses have two varieties, one that can run on the cloud, one that cannot run on cloud. So make sure that you have purchased the right combination for the customers. Now, if you are making use of the SQL service from Huawei, they actually provide SQL Server as a service rather than a physical product. So if you want to take advantage of that, great. And I think that the opportunity for any partner, they want to offer cloud services for their customers as a whole, it might be an opportune time to understand a little bit more about SQL Server as a service, because it basically means that now you can subscribe to a service that you can deploy for multiple customers, right? So that way, the cost of actually licensing SQL Server may be reduced, right? And it also gives you a single point of management of all the SQL Server data for all your customers. Now, once the virtual machine has been configured and properly working, you may want to go in there and do the necessary configuration, like what I just mentioned earlier, where you go and do DB setup, create the database in your SQL Server, deploy it, do the testing as necessary, and then allow the users then to access. The process is no different from what you are doing currently when you're deploying Sage 300 for your customers on their own on-premise servers. All right, so now is a time for us to go and click on Huawei Cloud to show you how a provision migrated server looks like. The key here is that these are all virtualized machines. It should not look any different from an on-premise or not an on-premise environment, right? So let me just quickly toggle to my remote desktop and connect to the Huawei Cloud. All right, so I know that I have deployed a virtual machine that I have migrated from Microsoft Azure previously, and the IP address is 159.138 and so on. So now I type in the password. I should be able to connect in as an administrator of that virtual machine. As you can see here, this is no different from any Windows Server operating system, right? So it's not something new and fanciful. Now, once you get in there, the first thing, as I said, you need to do is go and perform database setup. Let me show you what database setup will look like in this cloud service. Again, no different. The only thing you have to take note here is that the server is important, because if you have been using local server, local host, or some fixed IP address, you may want to come in here and make the change. Right now, in this particular case here, I think we are using SQL Server. I think is on a separate server box, on separate virtual machine, and that server machine I think is called Sage 300 Demo 7. So now I'm specifying that server name in here, and with the right appropriate credential, I will be able to now link Sage 300 to make use of that database. So if I were to go into Sage 300 now, I should be able to connect into the company that we're talking about, right? As you can see from here, the user experience is completely the same as if you are using on the on-premise environment. So there is no difference, right? It is looks like Windows, it behaves like Windows. In fact, the performance is pretty good. Now, the reason why performance is pretty good is because Huawei Cloud pride itself on two things. If my understanding from them is correct, they pride themselves on the fact that they are more affordable than the competitors, and they offer better performance than the competitors for the same money. So obviously, your customer will benefit from this tremendously. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my slide again and wrap up. All right, so in summary, so what have you heard and done? The first thing obviously is in your thought, your mind is, how do I get started, right? I want to go and play with it. I want to see how it works so that I know what is it, and then I want to offer it to my client. Right? So first thing first, if you are interested in this thing, you must show your interest to Sage, right? This is where you must contact your business account manager from Sage and tell them that you want to get involved in this, right? How do I get started? They will then guide you, right? Now, if you want to be a Huawei partner of some sort, they will guide you on how to sign up with Huawei. Of course, there are going to be partners who says that my business is too small. I do not want to hire people with that kind of skill set to manage the infrastructure, right? So do I have someone that I can work with? No worries. Sage has actually lined up with Netmarks, which we'll be talking later on, that will tell you what are services they can offer you. And in this particular instance, for the launching of this Huawei Cloud, they will also be offering you special packages of fixed sizing, so that you can immediately offer your customer this attractive pricing if, of course, the configuration suits their requirements. And as I said earlier, we will also be conducting training after this, where we will show you exactly how you can configure all these virtual machines should you decide that you know enough about how to set up virtual machines, but you just need some orientation on how Huawei Cloud works versus how Sage 300 works in that environment. And last but not least, we also come up with documentation. We're going to be sharing with you documentation on how you can actually do all these tasks step by step with screenshot, but only if you sign up and show your interest with Sage. Right, with that, I'm now going to pass you back to Evelyn, and we will then bring Nancy. Do I pass it to Evelyn? Oh, no, I think I can pass it to.
Yes. Okay.
Pass it.
Yeah, thanks, Charles. Yep, now we will pass it to Nancy.
Okay, let me see the screen. Okay, everybody. I do believe you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Let's start. So good afternoon. Thank you everyone for your time and visiting today's session. And thanks for Charles from Sage for the introduction. We also want to take this chance to thank Sage and NetMark's team for providing this chance for Huawei Cloud team for further collaboration. I'm Nancy Yan. I'm glad to have this chance to say hello to everybody. Our main topic today is to have a rough introduction about Huawei Cloud, and we want to deliver a message on staying safe while working remotely with Sage 300 on Huawei Cloud. So now let's start. As you know, that I'm the VP of Huawei Cloud Asia Pacific region in charge of partner alliance. So currently I'm working for the ICT industry for more than 15 years. Our main purpose to explore the partners who want to collaborate with Huawei Cloud to offer the private, hybrid, and public cloud solutions. Our goal is always embracing our partners and the customers. So Huawei Cloud is already stepping into our 2.0 era. So just now you are already see my main topic, which is we mentioned that the Huawei Cloud grow with intelligence. So till today, Huawei 2.0 means that we leverage our Huawei 5G and cloud AI and industry experience for customers and partners. So as everybody know that Huawei is the world's leading ICT infrastructure and intelligent companies. Our vision is to bring the digital to everyone, home and organizations for a full connected intelligent world. So far till today, we already have more than actually 200,000 employees in the whole worldwide. This is our permanent, the employees. Then we also have more than 170 branches office in the whole worldwide. Every year we spend more than 10% of our sales revenue into R&D. So that's the reason why we can actually to be very proud of our technologies. Okay. So just now I already mentioned that Huawei want to leverage our 5G and AI and IoT and the industry knowledge to service our customer and partners, because we actually foresee that by 2025, all countries and industries will be powered by the new confluence in cloud technology. So because today is not technical session, I would like to just give you some rough introduction about Huawei global presence. So we typically we already have more than a lot of top 500 enterprise to grow their business in the whole worldwide. So you can see since the 2 and 3 years ago, we already put all of our effort into Huawei Cloud technology and services. So now we already have 23 regions, especially in Asia Pacific in the middle side. In the middle area side, you can see in the Asia Pacific, we already have Hong Kong, Thailand, and Singapore data center zone. So in fact, in Thailand, only Huawei has the data center zone. Then by Q3 of this year, we are also already targeting and putting in our construction for Malaysia and Indonesia. So we believe that we can support our customer and the partner better. So then recently we also help. Yeah, there's some, the special arrangement here I want to highlight as well. So for example, recently we have a online gaming company. So this company, they want to explore their business in European market. So what happened? They actually leverage our China and Singapore, the zones, because why? Because the Singapore and European and China and European, we do have the direct connection. So instead of your users to use the the internet or the web the broader connection, we give you the direct connection to improve their customer efficiency. We already spent a lot on our Huawei Cloud services for our R&D. That's the reason till today we already have more than 200 cloud services in our Huawei, the cloud technology. So in the left side, you can see not in the so strange. Definitely, we have our the strong infra as a services. Then in the middle side, you can see we do have the application services and the Dev Cloud. And also, we also leverage our Huawei AI technology. So for example, we have our enterprise intelligence, which is we have our machine learning, deep learning technology, which is our, the basic API to open to our customer and partner. So imagine that if you want to go for some, let's say the smart city or smart campus solution, means that you must have some facial recognition or video recognition, which is our advanced enterprise intelligence. Then from that one, we actually also embrace our SaaS partner to become, our to actually generate our, much more advanced technology for smart campus, retail solution, and the smart traffic solution. Okay. So all in all, we also leverage our, the network the advantage for connecting our IoT technology into different carrier company. That's the reason nowadays we want to see that. So in some case that some of the company, they want to provide some smart IoT technology. Sometimes they need to knock every carrier company's door to let them to do the test and get their certification. However, Huawei help our partner to build out our IoT connection platform, then to help them to link up with the different carrier to provide their services. Okay, so that's the reason we actually support the different industry customers. Okay, so everybody will chat with me. So how is the the differentiation between Huawei and the other vendors? So I want to say today I just bring four major benefits to share with you. Of course, you know that we do have our cloud technology, which is actually we are leading the full stack and all scenario AI technology. So in the whole worldwide, I can see a lot of data center, even the cloud service provider, their data center, the technology provided by Huawei. For example, the Ali, their whole worldwide technology, data center technology was provided by Huawei. And also, we also have our digital expertise. So they bring our more than 30 years ICT experts, so to work for our traditional enterprise to help them to do the digital transformation. So which is we integrate our ROMA application or data integration platform. We also have our open, the DAYU data operation platform to help enterprise customer, financial customer to move to the digital transformation platform. Of course, we are secure and trustworthy. We're not, the e-commerce cloud provider. We actually, that we are the, just a normal cloud provider. So we don't, from customer view, you don't need to worry that we actually will grab your data, grab your information. Then meanwhile, we actually always seeing that the partner always our, the fortune. So that's the reason nowadays a lot of infra as a services, PaaS and SaaS partner, they coming to us. So every year we also spend more than 2 billion, the US dollar into consider to certify our Huawei Cloud to the, the industry standards. So in our Huawei Cloud website, you can see the, the detailed compliance and certification. Okay. So as I mentioned before, we are always open to embrace all the partners to grow together with Huawei. So in today's session, I would like to have a rough introduction about Huawei Cloud Partner Network. So in the left, the picture you can see, we do have two big category for our partner program. One is the consulting partner, the other one is the technology partner. So consulting partner means that if you are the system integrator, you are the consultancy partner, management service provider, or you previously working with, let's say, some cloud provider for value-added reseller, you can become as our consulting partners. Then technology partner, we may focus mainly focus on whoever the partner they provide the application software as a services, they are welcome to become as our technology partner. Okay, under consulting partner, we actually encourage our partner to become as our solution reseller partner first. Then meanwhile, they must be, the strong services skill set partner if they want to become as our service partner as well. So nowadays in the whole Asia Pacific, let's say the Thailand through IDC or the Myanmar, let's say the or maybe the the Myanmar region, let's say the Dialog, or maybe the Hong Kong CMI or Malaysia, all these Telecom Malaysia and Telecom Indonesia and Singapore, M1 StarHub, all these carrier company, they also become as our cooperation program partner. So in Huawei Cloud Partner, just now what I mentioned, technology partner. So how we actually bring the technology partner? So let's say if you are the partner who do have the mobile application, you have the software as a services platform as a services, you are actually welcome to join our marketplace program. So this marketplace program means that we actually support you to grow your business to the whole worldwide. So your application or your services will be put in Huawei Cloud Marketplace. Then all of the Huawei sales in the whole worldwide will see that, okay, and promote your services. And if let's say you are some partners, you are actually also mainly focused on AI. We also provide the special incentive to actually help you to become as our Huawei AI partner as well. So again, SaaS partner this year, we actually, during the COVID-19, we also give our SaaS partner a lot of, as long as you're a qualified SaaS partner, we also give you some sponsorship to help you to do some migration from other cloud services to Huawei Cloud Marketplace. Okay, so there's some industry case study here. So you can see we actually put in the different industry, let's say the internet, transportation, logistics, smart agriculture, and the carrier network. In fact, in the Asia Pacific region, for example, the left below side, there's a Malaysia, the food produce company. They actually bring the Huawei Cloud AI to help them to do the spicy production and the chili production, the what we call is the very AI technology to help them to do the product efficiency. And in Myanmar government, everybody know that the handwriting, the ID is also very headache for some certain of the carrier network provider and the government sector as well. So Huawei bundle with one of the carrier network company to provide the open API for Myanmar identification card, the OCR technology. Okay. So then in the right side, you can see we also embrace different partners to join us. In fact, we embrace here I just list down some companies. So there's Hong Kong, Thailand, or Malaysia or Indonesia or Philippine partners, they join us. So during this COVID-19 period, so currently we also give us a lot of SaaS partner and technology partner a lot of support. For example, Singapore 7 Network, They want to help SME to jumpstart their business continuity with the free workflow management tools. So Huawei sponsored them to do this way. And meanwhile, everybody know that now everybody stay at home. Your children and even your company must do some, the online learning. So we work together with uLearning to offer the e-learning to the different education industry customer and also the SME customer as well. So the AI technology also being used in this the time. So for example, we provide the AI assistant diagnostic tools for Thailand and also the Philippine hospital as well. Okay, for more cases, you can visit our website. So I know that most of the partner you do have two choice. Either can work with our network company as your the infra as a services partner. Then meanwhile, if you want to become as a new infra as a services provider, we actually draw this workflow to get you more understanding how we actually recruit our new partners. So because you are the Sage partner, normally we must get the recommendation from Sage first. After that, we will qualify that whether you are the the infra as a services partner before, either can be Azure's the infra as a services or AWS services partner or Google other cloud provider service infra as a service provider. Once you are qualified, you can become as a Huawei Cloud Sage partner. So we also definitely give you more support on this one. So for referral application, I do actually put on my click and also Sage sponsorship from Jingfang. So as everyone wants to become as a Huawei and Sage new infra as a service provider, you can email to us. Okay. So now I want to add on can be see a promotion or an advertisement because we want to the more and more and Sage partner to be and customer to be enjoy this join Sage Huawei and Nemax event. That's the reason from Huawei side we actually get this promotion to get whoever the customer and partner you, as long as you join this program by end June 2020, you will enjoy the 15 months subscription at the price of 12 months. Okay, so I want to highlight again. I'm very happy to talk to you guys today. And before I pass the session to the Mr. Raja from Nemax, I want to say thanks and I want to transfer this infra as a services provider application process to everybody. So thank you again. So I want to pass my session to Mr. Raja from Nemax. So Nemax has been certified as a Huawei consultancy partner and services partner because of their strong capabilities and professional skills. So so thank you for everybody. Evening. And Roger, I want to pass my session to your guys. Roger, your turn, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Evelyn. Good evening, all. Hope you are all stay safe and healthy. This is Raja from Netmark Singapore. Today, my main agenda I'm going to share. Okay, my agenda will be I'm just give a short introduction about who we are, about our Netmarks, and then the Sage 300 setup overview, and as well as our Netmarks managed services, how we can ease in your work to bring your value to your clients, and our strong strength and the values, and the standard packages with the infrastructures, and the scope of work, what are the areas we are covering, and what's the things we are leaving to yours, and the ordering process. These are all my overall agenda for today's session. Okay, about Netmarks, who we are. Actually, we are a part of a Nihon Unisys in Japan. This actually is a Japan Unisys company. So we are a part of that company. we have a presence in 21 country in the entire APAC and the Japan. So we have a 17 plus years of experience in the system integration. Due to that, we have a strong strategic partnership with the leading brands in the ICT world. And then we do offer a 24/7 maintenance support for our clients. And in Singapore itself, because small, we have 100 over customers. And then this is about our presence in the Asia Pac and the Japan. If you can see the blue color, these are all the direct networks presence. And then the green and the yellow, this is our Unisys, it's a Japan My H2 that partners. So we do support the entire Asia Pac, almost all the countries. We can do our support through our partner networks. Okay, quickly move to the main topic. Today the one of the due to this COVID, the pandemics and the situations, so the main focus will be enable our Sage users to access from home on the remote, any other remote sites. So to achieve these, Netmarks can offer like a dedicated client infrastructure per client, and we do provide the managed services to ease the Sage resellers operation and speeden up the services to roll out to your clients. And moreover, this of course is a cloud-based environment, so we offer the subscription-based model, provide the different packages and the options to let your clients choose, and also we offer the different SLAs in the markets to support the operational of your clients. Okay, this is a overview. Of course, you can see currently many of the users is actually accessing the application in the just on the on-premises the Sage applications. So now there is a few methods once we move the application to a cloud infrastructure. Here is we are using a Huawei Cloud infrastructure. So if you can see in the left hand side the user on the go, that means they can from anywhere, any device, they are able to access. So this is again we can classify as a two different type, like they are just accessing directly through internet using the Sage 300 web UI. The another method is via the SSL VPN. Then the another legacy things is of course we can configure the site-to-site VPN. Of course, due to this situation, current situation, this is not more realistic at this moment, but still we want to keep this option because this once we move to a cloud in the future, the clients still continue to operate even from the offices. So here we are going to have a little bit detail on the what are the things is needed to achieve this. For example, first we talk about the site-to-site VPN. From the each client officers, if they want to connect back to the Sage application on the Huawei Cloud, they must need to configure. The first step is a VPN. So we need to establish a connectivity. So why here we are talking about VPN? Because VPN, as you all are know, is encrypted on the tunnel, the most secure way of establishing the communication between the one side to other. So that is a main reason we are using here VPN. So the main advantage of this is of course is a more secure environment, and as well as your Sage application, as you know, it has a lot of confidential information, so it will provide some more security. So it won't reveal to the outside world. That means nobody from the internet couldn't able to access, only from the particular location and the site if you permitted to access. So here the concern is, of course, is a mobility and the access, the user access from if they go out of the office, how they can access. So this is a big concern. So that is the reason we are introducing the another options like a user on the go. So that means wherever the users go from any devices. Now due to this COVID, so everybody started to work from the homes. So we can still facilitate and assist our users to access this, continue to use the Sage application even from the home, even from their uh, devices, any devices. For example, if they are using some other notebooks on the even from the tablet, so if they just need to sign in through the internet using the Sage 300 web UI, this is possible. Or if they use some corporate PCs, we can install some SSL VPN clients and establish a more secure connection to connect to the Sage 300 application. Of course, here as a consultant, if you ask our suggestions, our strongest recommendation is always go with the SSL VPN. The reason is because, as I mentioned, the VPN, it will provide the most secure connectivity. So it won't expose the application to public internet, so there is a no chance for a attack from the outside world. So from the data security wise, the SSL VPN it will be more up for this current situation. So it can fulfill the users from access from anywhere and any device, and as well as it's secure. So that's our recommendation. And then I'm introducing our Networks managed services. Okay, why you need to engage with the Networks? Okay, the reason is because you are all the expertise on the Sage application, so you can do, you are all very much familiar. But our expertise in this sector is system integration. So we don't touch anything on the application layer, but we will provide you same as our on-premises infrastructure. So we will take care the entire infrastructure and provide you just remote access to yours to go and do your Sage applications. So if you see I'm just categorize the major scope of work here. From the client perspective, they just specify or just tell the tell viewers about the requirement. So as a Sage resellers, you are all just validate the requirement and just make sure the your Sage VMs the sizing requirements, then just inform to Netmarks. So the Netmarks in the backend, they will do all the necessary activities like sign up with the Huawei and whatever the platforms necessary and the security enhancements and the VM provisioning. All this will be taken care by the Netmarks. We will just provide you as a remote desktop access to your Windows machine. So then after that, you can just install your Sage application and you can hand over to your clients. This is for, of course, it's for a new installation. I'm talking in the future slide, I will share about our how we can do the migrations and what is the scope of the migration task as well. And one more thing, as Nancy mentioned, we are one of a consulting partner of Huawei. So we are certified an authorized partner with them. So we are familiarized with that infrastructure. So it will be speeden up your process to bring the solutions to your clients. And one more thing, as I want to emphasize here is we are authorized reseller as a system integrator. We are authorized reseller of Microsoft, so you can buy any licenses or any other additional components to fulfill your client's requirement. Yes, we can provide all this at the infrastructure layer. Again, I want to emphasize still the applications and the applications configurations will still controlled by us. Okay, here our values. I hope Nancy also already explained this, but again, I want to emphasize why you may have a questions as a system integrator, why we are suggesting actually Huawei. Because the Huawei as a system integrator, we have a familiarized with other infrastructures, other cloud providers as well. But the reason for the Huawei is because the Huawei is the only one cloud provider is provide the full stack. That means what is mean by full stack? Okay, any other cloud competitors, if you compare, they are integrating their servers and the other equipment from different manufacturers. But Huawei is the one they use the entire infrastructure by using the Huawei products. So that is the reason they can provide really very much cost effective and the well managed infrastructure. And also they have a very strong background in the telco industry. That is the things it really let them provide the low latency and the reliable and high performance connectivity from almost anywhere in the world. So they have a very good coverage in the entire Asia Pac, same as the networks companies. So the networks also have very strong experiences in this system integration business for 20 years. So these are the reasons I can say we provide our strongest point in this. And if you compare with the other cloud providers, actually Huawei plus Netmarks managed services, we provide the 15 to 20% cost savings on the cloud infrastructure. So later when I see the standard price packages, you can also realize these differences. These are all our scope of work in the migration. So the migration perspective, Charles already mentioned about the tools, how we can use. So of course, the tools are easy to provision, but if you have any difficulties or if anything, any issues is tracking, disturb the migration, so definitely that is a reason networks will come here to help you. So it will be ease in your operations, and you can just provide us a one-stop solutions to your client. We will take care in the backend all the migration works, and you just inform us the current existing the Sage application server specifications, and what are the resource currently is using. Then in the backend, we will do all the provisioning, and we will do the migration and let you to check, just perform the smoke test as Charles mentioned. So of course, as I mentioned, again, I want to emphasize, Networks, we don't have any access to your Sage application and its data. Our responsibility is up to the operating system level. So we will make sure all the network connectivity, and make sure from the whatever the connectivity needed on the Huawei cloud infrastructure, and the security, and whatever the ports and the firewalls, all this will be taken care by us. This is our value as in the managed service. This is the scope of work for a new installation. So actually the main difference is, of course, the new installation we can check based on the client requirement. We can help them to do the sizing, rather than the migration. We must need to follow the existing sizing or more. For example, as Charles already explained very clearly in his slides. So the main differences in the migration and the new installation is, of course, is the resource specifications. Other than that, the configuration wise, if you see the networks and the firewall configurations and the backup configurations and the VPN specification and configurations, it will be all will be taken care by networks. So your responsibility mainly will just check the Sage products and the applications. If you need to do any patches or upgrades on the Sage application and it and as well as its database, you must need to do that, and we can hand over to our client. Okay, we do provide our maintenance as well. So the maintenance, it will covers the quarterly performance of a VM in the cloud, and as well as we do a disk capacity check, and perform the backup check and the restoration. If you need to do, for example, if your clients have some compliances, to do some yearly DR test or backup test to make sure if everything's okay, fine. So this is the things also will be provided by us. And the unlimited call support to any issues related with the infrastructure. Of course, here again, I want to emphasize the level of support. For example, the end user, Sage resellers, and the networks. The reason is, for example, any issues the end user facing, the first point is, of course, they contact you us. So once you find out the issue is not related with the Sage application, so any other things you can just escalate to networks. So we will find out and find the root cause of the issue, and we will fix and we will update you us. So this is our scope of maintenance will be covered. This is our terms and conditions. So here mainly, of course, after this, we will share this document for your detailed readings. So the main agenda will be here is networks don't have any access to the Sage application and this data, because as you know, these are all the more confidential informations to the company. So networks, as a managed service provider, we do have access up to the OS level. So we don't have any access to the Sage application and its data. Then the ordering process, Sage resellers just issue the order to networks. So you no need to really worry about the infrastructure setup and the licenses and how to deploy or how to manage. So all this will be taken care by networks. So in whatever need to do in the behind, networks will take care, and we will just hand over to yours to deploy a Sage applications. So this is like a single stop solutions. So you can just contact us for the entire deployment as well as management of the cloud infrastructure. Other than that, for example, because they are open with a few models, so you can either come to us or you can go direct to Huawei. if you, in case of if you go direct to Huawei to subscribe to a cloud infrastructure, but still you can engage Netmarks to do the deployment and as well as the maintenance services. So for this, we can offer the deployment and as well as the different SLAs in our maintenance. And we do provide, we are strong in the system integration business. So we do provide a setup for your clients at the client offices as well. This is not only in the current scopes. So far I explained all is on the Huawei Cloud only. But if you need to do some infrastructure at your client premises, yes, feel free to inform us. We have the capability to do, and we have a certified engineers. They can go and check your client environment, and they can configure and establish some VPN sessions to the Huawei clouds. Okay, for any further details about our solutioning and offerings, please free to contact these emails and the telephone numbers on here. So we are happy to assist you. Okay, just a quick, other than these things, these are all other offerings from us as a system integrator. We do provide the network connectivity, server virtualization, hyperconverged solutions, LAN WAN optimization, and the client PC deployments, and enterprise solutions, security, video conferencing, and of course cloud and data analytics solutions. So if you see, due to this current COVID situation, there is a lot of requirements in the cloud solutions and the video conferencing and the security solutions, including the client PC deployments. So if you have any other requirements for your clients as a single point of contact, you can get this and engage Netmark as a behind you to support on this entire operations. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you all of yours for your time. That's all from my side. Thank you. I pass over to Evelyn.
Yeah, thank you, Raja. All right, so thank you very much to all the presenters, Raja, Charles, and Nancy. So now we are going to the question sessions. Basically, I will provide a vocal rights to everybody, and you will be able to see, see a little mic at your control panels. From there on, you will be able to unmute yourself if you want to speak out. All right, so I have already provided audio controls to everybody. If you have any questions, you can speak out. Otherwise, let's go to maybe our question, those questions that have submitted to us just now. First, then only we go to the floor. All right, so all the presenter, I have also made yourself as the organizer, and you will be able to see the questions on the question panels, but I will also read it out for you to answer. Okay, so the first question here is this available for Sri Lanka? Anybody can help me?
Yeah, so even if I can jump in. Hi everyone, this is Jin Fang here. Because this is a cloud platform, yeah, logically it's available to the whole world. But I'm not so sure whether Nancy and Luke, are you able to provide like further information on this question?
Okay, Sri Lanka one, definitely we use our Thailand, Hong Kong, and Singapore zone to cover. You can hear me, right? Yeah.
Yes, Nancy.
Okay, so for us, as I mentioned before, we already have the data center cloud data center zone in Thailand, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Then by Q3 of this year, we are going to set up Malaysia and in Indonesia data center zone. So currently, Singapore latency is quite good. Even the India customer, they also approach us through the the Singapore data center zone. So, so give you the the answer is Sri Lanka also can go this way to use our Singapore data center zone to go for Sage 300 image on Huawei Cloud.
All right. Okay, thanks. Okay, the next question. What's different between Huawei and Azure?
Good question. I saw it's Yung asked for this question, right? So if you have some time to go through our Huawei website, so it's www.huaweicloud.com. So you can see, a lot of infra as a services and also platform as a services and also the SaaS as a services already in our Huawei Cloud website. So in a short, the introduction. So for us, actually, we of course we are not office company. However, we provide the best cost effective the infra as a services. Meanwhile, we actually accumulate our more than 30 years the ICT technology and also our more than 10 years R&D experiences in cloud technology. We actually mix our, let's say, the development cloud or the enterprise intelligence technology and services into our Huawei Cloud technology. So if you want to hear more on that difference, so I want to share with you. First thing, best effective. Second thing is leading technology. The third thing is we always embrace our industry customer to give more and more industry customer the best cloud services. So you can see all our customer are, let's say, focus on different industry, government sector, agricultural sector, or maybe let's say the financial sector and logistic company. So this kind of the customer base also give us a lot of the very good the reputation to have the the enterprise customer for either private, hybrid, and public cloud solution. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. The next question, does customer have administrator right of Huawei VM?
Yes.
I believe this is what, yeah.
Yeah, this one I can answer. This is Raja from Netmarks. Okay. This one, yes, actually, this is depends on the privileges what Sage resellers is offered to their clients. Of course, from the Netmarks perspective, for example, once we set up the managed service, we will give the entire administrative rights to a Sage reseller, because this is purely is a multi-tenant basis, so they can have a full access to the even the VMs and as well as the remote machines inside the Huawei Cloud. The answer
Okay,
is yes.
thanks, Raja. Okay, yeah, the next one, customer use Sage 300 by using RDS. Anybody can help to answer this?
Sorry, RDS.
I think you actually mentioned about the relation database services, and right. So Huawei did provide the relation database services, but this one is because you mentioned Microsoft. So for me, I won't answer this question, but I want to share with you. Sage 300 also can running on Huawei, the relation database services in cloud.
Sorry, I think the partner meant RDS as in remote desktop services.
Desktop, right?
Yes,
Remote
correct.
desktop
Okay.
service. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So here, if they are mean about the remote desktop, yes, I can answer this. As I mentioned, actually there is a few method to access. Actually, the safest method we suggest to use with the either site-to-site VPN or SSL VPN. So after they connect to the VPN, they can either access if they configure the web GUI, they can access through web UI, or else they can use the clients to access, or else they can just take a remote access to the server. Then from that they can just launch the client from the server itself. There is a few methods is available. It depends on the client requirements. They can choose which method they want to deploy. Yes, it's possible.
Okay, thank you, Raja. Okay, the next question, can use SQL Express? Anybody can jump in?
So this should be Charles, right?
Okay. SQL Express is obviously supported by Sage 300, right? Uh, like I said, if you are provisioning the virtual machine yourself and you're doing it yourself, what you do and what you provide is entirely up to you, right? Because the standard virtual machine doesn't come with SQL Server. So you actually have to bring your own license. So if your license is Express, then I guess it's on the customer to decide.
Okay. I hope we answer your questions. All right. So okay. So now we go to the next one. For those partners who have asked the questions, if you are not clear, like I said, you can always unmute yourself to elaborate more on your question. Okay. So the next question: how is the VM configurations upgrade? For example, 16 gig RAM to 64 gig. Anybody can help with this?
Yeah, this one actually is a more real-time upgrade we can do anytime, because this is depends on the customer requirements as well and the performances. Of course, this is a suggested the recommended resource from the Sage application. For example, if the server use this VM other than the some Sage application, maybe they do some other application or it need more resource. Yes, definitely we can increase the RAM, and even the hard disk capacity also can be expanded, not be decreased but can be expanded.
Okay, then I think this is related to the next question as well. I mean the questions that asked was very straightforward, but I'm not too sure whether I get it right. It just showing that HDD to SSD virtual disk upgrade.
Normal hard disk to SSD virtual disk upgrade. Yeah, this is possible because here in our environment, we still here the users the standard disk. So we can use with the SSD also, we have an option. So we can choose which one we want.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
Huawei Cloud provide that facility to choose. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. All right, so to the next question. How is the Huawei network speed, upload and download?
Okay. This is also depends. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. You can continue, Raja.
Okay. Huawei, as I mentioned, it provides a dedicated bandwidth for the users using the feature called EIP, Elastic IP. So we can choose, for example, the 1 to 2 users, we choose the limit of 2 Mbps. But if you want to give a more higher performance to your users, of course, we can choose 5 Mbps or 10 Mbps or even 1 Gbps. This is also still possible. We can actually how to decide is depends on the client requirements.
Okay. What about the next one? How is the virtual network and firewall configuration?
If they go with the managed services, this will be handled by Netmarks. We will take it based on the best practices, and we will allow only the necessary ports for the communications.
Is it possible to send us your PowerPoint? Yes, like I say, the PowerPoint will be uploaded to our partner portal later. Yeah, you can basically go there and download yourself. So the next question, my customer use Microsoft Azure for server. Why they should change Azure? Yeah, this is I think have asked just now, like why should we change Microsoft Azure to Huawei Cloud, which is pretty similar to the question that Nancy answered. Okay, so we'll move to the next. What about Cambodia? Is it available in Cambodia?
I guess this question is similar like just now the Sri Lanka. So as I mentioned before, so far the Singapore, Hong Kong, and Thailand, we already support most of the customer in these countries like Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, or let's say even Maldives. So should be okay.
Okay. So can we choose locations for the data to be hosted?
We can choose the locations because as Nancy mentioned, currently they have a data center in the Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, all these locations. So they can choose which country, which region they want their data want to reside. They can choose.
Okay. SQL Server is pre-installed.
No, it's like I think I did mention a few times, right? The license for SQL Server is supposed to be either obtained by the customer themselves, or the partner will obtain it for them, or Netmark will provide that SQL Server licenses. You can't use the license that comes with the system manager in Sage 300.
Is there a trial period given to customer to let customer try out?
Currently, the arrangement is the offer, which is a 15 for 12. But if let's say any partner really want to experience how Huawei Cloud's performance, in fact, we already set up the demo instance for 6300 and also for X3. So the partner can just approach us and try to experience how the performance. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. What's the difference between Sage 300 Online and Sage Huawei?
Charles.
Okay, 300 Online is our hosted cloud service, right? And if anyone has actually went up to 300 Online to take a look, you'll find that it has limited number of applications that is available for use, and you do not have control over the virtual machine, right? It is basically a multi-tenanted SaaS solution where Sage actually manages the whole infrastructure. Contrast that to what we are offering.
I think Charles, your voice is we can't hear you.
Yeah, I think
How
we
they want to
lost
manage is
you.
entirely up to them.
Charles, we lost you for about like 5 seconds. Okay, I think I try to answer. So 6300 online is a so-called is a cloud offering for 6300, and at this moment, some of the partner already sell and understand which is the limited feature and function. Also, you cannot add on like ISV other than ORCID, I think EFT. And so if let's say you put just on what Charles share, you put 6300 on Huawei Cloud, basically you can use the full feature and function of 6300, and you can add on whatever ISV you want to add on. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Jing Pang. All right, the next question is the pricing stated by Netmark XQRRDP at USD 2,550. Is it a one-time charges?
Those are all is a permanent licenses, is a one-time charge.
Okay, thanks, Raja. Any pricing differences in different zone, for example, Singapore versus Hong Kong?
Currently, no, because the price we negotiated with Huawei is already at the kind of the discounter. And even though if you go to their cloud platform, maybe because of the currency, there's some difference, some small difference, but it won't affect the overall price. So currently, we just use the US dollar. Just if let's say you also take on Netmark's managed service as a package, yeah.
For Malaysia, which data center zone is preferred? Thailand, Singapore or Hong Kong?
Okay. Currently, I would say most of the customers, they are using Singapore from Malaysia to use Singapore one, and even Indonesia, Philippines, Maldives, yes.
Okay, so I think this is a continuous questions for Nancy. Later, if we wish to migrate from each of these zones back to Malaysia, is it possible?
Theoretically, it should be okay, but as I mentioned, the Malaysia is just a new setup. So far, if let's say from Singapore to direct connect to Malaysia, we may not be so fast. So, but you can still, going to do some migration from Singapore to Malaysia, but that means that you have to stop the, the Singapore to do the reset up in Malaysia. Because sometimes, for example, just now what I mentioned, from Singapore or from China to French, we actually do have the direct connect. So even you open an account in French, then from Singapore we can direct to connect, the French resources. But Malaysia, because Malaysia is a new setup, so I do believe the direct connection will be need some time.
Okay, thanks, Nancy. The standard price list does not include RDP car license.
It's included. It's a 5 user car license is included.
Okay, all right. What is the internet bandwidth provided by Huawei? Is it 100 megs or higher?
No,
Roger,
internet bandwidth. Sorry.
Raja, I see you can answer this question.
Yeah, yes. Okay. Actually, the internet bandwidth, as I mentioned, in the depends on our packages. For example, the 1 to 2 users, we are going with the 2 Mbps. This is for a dedicated bandwidth. Again, I want to emphasize this because it's not a shared line, so it's a dedicated, so they can get the better performance. For 3 to 5 users, we are providing the 5 Mbps. As I mentioned, of course, if the client willing to increase the bandwidth, yes, it's possible. We can customize that package as well.
Okay. Does Netmark provide their services for Sri Lanka?
Actually, as I mentioned, all our services here we quoted is on the Huawei Cloud infrastructure setup. So regardless of any country, we can do, because the Huawei is in a cloud platform, so we can do this setup from anywhere. But if they need to do some client side infrastructure setup, we need to work with our partners in the Sri Lanka to support them.
Okay. How these architectures support for integrations with third-party product, for an instance, Sage 300 integrations with a distribution system?
I guess this either Charles, will you be able to answer? Hi, Charles, are you there?
No, I think he dropped off.
Okay. Logically, this shouldn't be an issue because I think it's no much difference. Now you put 6300 on a physical server, and now you put on a VM. So yeah, but I think this one we can, since Charles is not here, I can get a confirmed answer from him, and then later we'll get back to you. Yeah, okay.
Again, is this available in Philippines?
Okay, available.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, Philippines must to approach our Singapore data center zone.
Okay. Does Netmark maintenance is mandatory?
No.
No, it's of course it's optional.
Okay. May I know how is the backup and restore? How long does the backup will keep? Sorry.
Okay, so the backup is an incremental backup we do for 30 days. Of course, the whole the backup will be the full backups will be for 3 months. Is 90 days.
Okay. Can you possibly package Sage 300 subscriptions together with Huawei Cloud package, better pricing?
Yeah, I think if you look at the current offer, we kind of already for this launch promotion is already better. It's a 15 for 12. If you use 6300. I both Nancy from Huawei and Nema, we are aware the most important, especially during this difficult period. If customer genuinely have the interest, right? Okay, just go ahead and discuss with them. And if you face difficulty, you can come back to us. Yeah. And I can also answer the next question, the partner margin. So currently, just now what Raja shared the price is the cost to all the partner. It's up to you how much you want to mark up on that price. So the one is not like our 6300 pricing is a retail pricing, and that price actually share with all of you. Generally, if you compare to like similar platform, either Azure or AWS, is about 15 to 20% cheaper. But like what Lancy just now mentioned, if some of the partner you are keen also become Huawei Cloud partner after the kind of like the validation, the qualification, you can also do so. Just let me know.
Okay, yes, I think we come to the last questions for today. Does Huawei Cloud offer SQL services like Azure SQL Server service?
Hey, hello, everyone. This is Louis from Huawei. Definitely, we provide all the RDS services, including MySQL, SQL Server, and also MongoDB as well.
Okay, thanks, Louis. Okay, I think that's all questions we have. And from the floor, is there any more questions that you would like to unmute yourself and ask? If not, we shall wrap up today's sessions. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, there's a feedback form after you exit from the application. It will be appreciated if you can take 3 minutes about your times to help us fill up the feedback form so that we can take another step in this regarding this initiative. All right, thank you very much, everybody, and stay safe. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.